When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. It is important to view knowledge as sort of a semantic tree. Make sure you understand the fundamental principles, the trunk and big branches, before you get into the leaves/details, or there is nothing for them to hang on to. Proceeds from the PayPal acquisition were $180 million. I put $100 million in SpaceX, $70 million in Tesla, and $10 million in SolarCity. I had to borrow money for rent. You should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I think it's important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. The normal way we conduct our lives is we reason by analogy. With analogy, we are doing this because it's like something else that was done, or it is like what other people are doing. With first principles, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths, and then reason up from there. I think it would be great to be born on Earth and die on Mars. Just hopefully not at the point of impact. Constantly seek criticism. A well-thought-out critique of whatever you're doing is as valuable as gold. No, I don't ever give up. I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated. I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. Any product that needs a manual to work is broken. The idea of lying on a beach as my main thing just sounds like the worst. It sounds horrible to me. I would go bonkers. I would have to be on serious drugs. I'd be super duper bored. I like high intensity. I take the position that I'm always to some degree wrong, and the aspiration is to be less wrong. One of the really tough things is figuring out what questions to ask. Once you figure out the question, then the answer is relatively easy. One of the biggest mistakes we made was trying to automate things that are super easy for a person to do, but super hard for a robot to do. You need to live in a dome initially, but over time you could terraform Mars to look like Earth and eventually walk around outside without anything on. So it's a fixer-upper of a planet. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough.